All right, family. We live here, YouTube, General Seti, Sarasun Seti. Powerful presentation today. We are talking about how the United States is suffocating Cuba, shutting off the oil, shutting off the gas once they attack and conquered and seized Venezuela. Yeah, a lot of the nations in South America is now bowing down, paying homage to the United States in order to keep the gas on, to keep the heat on, to keep oil, gas in the cars, in the boats, and everything else. Keep the lights on. You see, so that's what's happening today. And so, uh, you know what? Let me tell you something. If you're gonna play the game, play to win, or don't play. You see, find your place and stay in your place. But when you take the position that you're gonna be the big dog and you're gonna wolf, you're gonna wolf, you're gonna bark at the big dog, and you ain't ready to be the big dog. When he get on your head, then I don't want nobody out there crying. Because this is a world where you're gonna have to fight for everything that you know, all the aspirations that you see, you got to be willing to fight to get it. Okay, so I don't want nobody out there crying when somebody, been woofing and nah, it is what it is. Even our own people, we stay losing because we don't want to win. You want to win, you'll strategize in order to win. You'll look at your adversaries, respect your adversaries enough to acknowledge the strengths, weaknesses, and design you a blueprint that could successfully offset the strengths over and exploit the weaknesses. You're not willing to do that. So there it is, okay? But Cuba, I knew when Cuba let them Russian ships, you hear me? Listen to me when I tell you. I knew, and I told y'all a long time ago, they coming for that, for allowing them Russian ships to dock down. What was that, last year? That was last year. I said they're going to pay for that. They're going to pay for that. That'll be the last time them Russian ships come across that water, okay? That'll be the last time they come across that water. Because matter of fact, even when they came, they escorted them out. They had nuclear subs right out there in the water to let them know that they ass will go. You see what they did to Iran? They'll do the same thing to Russia. It's not a problem. You see what I'm saying? They think, Russia, but see, that's when you got to, See, you got to know when somebody playing you. And Cuba should have knew that. But they should have knew that. Like, this ain't the time for that. But Russia probably encouraged it, because what good was it gonna come out? What good was it gonna come out of it for Cuba? Oh, you see us beefing with Russia and China, and then you gonna let them come across here, and y'all got to see, when you talking about Havana, Cuba. And I mean, ain't but about 300 miles to Miami. It ain't that far. So you gonna let them come up in here? Yeah, you gonna let them come up in here and dock? And we talking about them was nuclear ships. I believe some of them was nuclear capable ships. Then they had some artillery on them ships that could easily have, I bet you won't do it again. I bet you won't do it again. Okay, so what they're going to do, what they're going to do is they're going to punish them. Thank you, fam. They're going to punish them. You know what I'm saying? They're going to squeeze and whatever little economy that they got, they're gonna it's gonna shrink to damn near nothing. Thank you, family. it's gonna shrink damn near to nothing because ain't nobody out and everybody, all the cars been stopped moving. I mean, you gotta think, even the boats, you know what I'm saying? You know, to go out there and fish and, you know, I mean, food is, you know, gonna be scarce. And so you're looking at the last days of the Cuban regime. You're looking at the last days. And so eventually the people gonna want the regime to leave up out of there. Period. They're gonna want that regime to leave up out of it because them days is over with. Communism has, you know, and this is European communism. You see, you know, this is European communism, you know, and so this ain't no, you know, no ancient African system, you know, and I understand communism building with the, you know, as a nation and things that, but this is European. This is Karl Marx and Lenin, and you understand? We talking about these are the architects of, you know, this communism thing that's going on. You see, so at this point, you know, in this day and age, I'm looking for a thriving communist state. You know, even China moved up out of it, even though it moved up out of its old communist ways. Now it's thriving, and really the United States jump-started them. And people got to understand. People look at China and say, "Oh, China, man, United States jump-started China." They the ones say, "Man, we want you to do this." What was they doing before United States went over there? They wasn't doing nothing. They was over there with wheelbarrows. They didn't even half them cities that y'all see over there today was built in the last 20 years. They wasn't there, you know what I'm saying? Their towns and things, yeah, they got them now because the United States kicked the door in and brought capitalism in on China. Other than that, I mean, the old ways, that's why Russia, you know, the Soviet Union collapsed. And China learned from that. They say, well, you know what? We got a communism, but it's going to be a democratic, you know, type of communism. We're going to get some money flowing in here. We're going to get these cities built up. And so the fact that China integrated with the United States is not even challenging the United States. It surpassed Russia because Russia's still on that old Soviet ways, you see? And Cuba should have learned that. Them days is over with. You know, this ain't damn Fidel Castro and what's the other what's his name? Che Guevara, whatever the hell his name was. You see, them days is over with, you know, and so they let Russia play them because Russia is a fossil. People got to realize that Russia is a fossil, okay? Yeah, it got some nukes. That's about it. If Russia did not have them nukes, man, they'd have been ran in over there on them. That's what's keeping people up off of their head right now. If they didn't have them nukes over there, the United States would have been jumped on Russia and whooped them and took their little land over there. And they know that. That's why Putin, every time you get into it and you get to, he played the nuclear card because he know he don't have no army to really, I mean, you've been over there for 3 years, almost 4 years fighting Ukraine. And then you thinking you're going to fight the United States who got better weaponry than you? Man, y'all got to see this. That's why I can't understand. But see, y'all think I just started. I've been doing this over 40 some years. You know what I'm saying? Military, geography, you know, social studies, all of that. Been doing this for a long time. And this is one of my strongholds because I've been studying these nations for over 40 some years. I remember when the Soviet Union was still up and running. You see what I'm saying? I remember that. Okay, I remember when it failed. I know what the constructs of it falling, and that was shocking to see. You know, almost the #1 nation. That's how they, you know, The biggest nation on the planet. You think Russia large now? Imagine it when it was the Soviet Union. And you know, in a lot of them countries over there, Lithuania, Georgia, Ukraine was a part of the Soviet Union. All them. Do you understand? Poland. You understand? Poland was a part of the Soviet Union. Yugoslavia, all of that. Serbia, Croatia. They independent nations today, but at one point in time, they was a part of the Soviet Union. Collapsed. You understand? United States went in there with the CIA and all that, collapsed them because they were trying to compete. And in the end result is that they collapsed. And so you got little peep squeak Russia, you know, who want to threaten people with nuclear weapons because they ain't got no real manpower. You know, they over there bombing the hell out of Ukraine, but they still ain't take them because you got to put boots on the ground and they over there knocking your soldiers off. You see, they over there knocking their soldiers off. The people talking about they win. How the hell win then? Don't take no 4 years for no mega, you know, supposed to be the number 2. Some people want to, say the number 2 nation military on the planet, and you still fighting a war with Ukraine 4 years later? Is you serious? I mean, you talking about overrated, but this is what Cuba let Russia do to them. They let Russia play Cuba, man. You know, Cuba let Russia play them, man. They should have seen that this world, and so in order for them to survive, man, they're going to have to play ball with the U.S. A lot of people say, don't do it. Okay, they're going to starve them to death over there. What you going to do? You going to sell oil to Cuba? Huh? Y'all gonna light the gas in the furnace over there? You gonna put gas in their tank? See, it's good when you typing and shit on the internet and putting all these fabulous ideologies in the comments, but them people's over there is hungry. You feel me? It's dark over there at night. You know, people, you know, got jobs where, you know, they can't even put gas in the car. So what is it's good to be a comment revolutionary, but when your ass got to live through it for real, it's something totally different. You see, y'all get to crying when the goddamn gas go up to $3, and oh man, what happened when you ain't got no damn gas? Huh? What happened when you ain't got no gas? You say at least the petrodollar is still in circulation. Y'all crazy. World War III, yeah, I believe it's World War III, but it ain't got to be nuclear. Yeah, it's World War III. Yeah, it is. It's happening right now before your eyes. United States is declaring war on the world, and they kicking in doors. And you could just, like I say, we seeing it happen in real time. Took Panama, took Venezuela, squeezing Cuba, threatening Mexico, threatening Canada, threatening Greenland, threatening Denmark, threatening Iran, threatening Iran, squeezing and sending shots at India, and silently squeezing the hell out of China. You see, Russia you know, you say more power for the petrodollar. They're going to squeeze that. They're going to squeeze that one too. Yeah, they're going to squeeze the petrodollar too. Ain't going to be no petrodollar. Damn it, it ain't going to be nothing. Either you going to play or you going to lay. That's yeah, either you go play or you go lay. But anyway, it's the last days for Cuba. They paying that price for letting Russian warships dock. They was coming for them anyway, but that right there sealed Cuba's fate. They sealed it. It ain't, and it's really not in turmoil, family. It ain't in turmoil. They didn't seize control. It ain't in turmoil because they're gonna operate it. They're gonna operate it. They're gonna feed them over there too. They're gonna feed them too. They ain't gonna they're gonna make sure that they eat, but they're gonna make sure that they get the big dollar out of it. You see, they gonna make them, you know, they gonna make them want to be capitalists in a part of democracy. They're gonna feed them over there too. That's how they're gonna draw them in. But anyway, family, appreciate y'all out there, man. We're gonna have a powerful breakdown. China and the Mexican cartel, what, you know, this plot, this covert plot that they have been trying to, operate in the United States, to bring down the United States with narcotics. Man, listen here. That's why they on their head down there. They on their head down there, family. This is not, this not just for, oh, we just going up. No, it's been some things going on, and yeah, it's been going on vice versa. You see, but hey, when you play the game, you know, whatever come along with it, stand on it. Don't get the crime. This is General Sarasu, who said he clicked the link at the top of the chat, Patreon. Get on over there and get this hellified breakdown. I'm on YouTube tonight. Don't you go nowhere. We got a couple more presentations. Don't you dare miss it. Arm yourself with knowledge. Bang on the Wicked Beast Daily. Liberation through African education and confrontation. Boom. Black power.